Nearly $5.5 billion. That's how much the city has gotten from development charges in the past 10 years.
This is big money that right now the developer has to put up front. It's just not working now. We need a different shock to the system.
The higher the development charges, the higher the cost of the new housing. It has brought us to a gridlock, a regulatory gridlock.
Development charges have been a thing in Ontario since 1997. Toronto's mayor says the money is critical.
If not, the roads won't get built, your sewage is not going to work.
The question is development charges the best way of doing it?
Ultimately, it's the home buyers that are paying for that.
I've been a reporter for so many years in this city, and I'm kind of annoyed that I haven't done this story yet. Well, we are doing it now because the provincial government just spotlighted the charges in a sweeping new housing bill.
We plan to cut red tape, speed up approvals, and reduce charges.
I'll explain the proposed changes and why some say the fees should go altogether. But first, a primer on the development charges that builders have to pay. Cities start with a background study to identify all the infrastructure needed to support the development. Let's look at Toronto's 2024 rates. The cost for services like parks, even police, takes up almost 2/3 of the charge, while engineered costs like sewers and roads make up the rest. Toronto's 2024 development charge rate for a 2-bedroom unit was just over $80,000. For a single home, it was around $140,000.
They serve a very specific purpose. Since 2009, they've tripled, made it so that municipalities ended up collecting more than they need.
Right now, the builder pays when it gets its permit. Say the development charge is $150,000. The Home Builders Association says if it takes 5 years from permit to occupancy, that builder could end up paying upwards of $30,000 per unit just to carry the loan. Spread over, say, 100 units, that could be around $3 million in interest. Here's the big switch. The province is proposing delaying that payment until the building is ready to be moved into.
A simple example of taking $30,000 off the cost of a home, that's significant. It could mean the difference between a family qualifying or not qualifying for a mortgage.
Another part of the bill, municipalities would be allowed to reduce development charges on their own. Places like Vaughan and Mississauga already have, and their Liberal mayors stood along Ford's government cheering on the changes.
I also want to stand here as a former Liberal MP and tell you I support the Premier and his crew 100%. The changes we've implemented have made quite a difference already.
Mississauga's mayor says in all of 2024, they processed applications for 2,600 units. Then they cut the development charge in half for this year, and now the city's already processed 11,700 units in just a few months.
It does show that it can be done without the city having to do anything else. That could make the difference of a builder proceeding or not.
Another complaint from the building community is scope creep. Essentially, they say municipalities have been expanding the fees to pay for things all over the city.
It shouldn't be used as a fund to put it in a bank, in a savings account, and it earns interest for the city. You may be building something, dwellings in Etobicoke, the development charges you're paying is an improvement in public transit in Scarborough. Sometimes those charges do not really correlate.
Okay, I guess though what some citizens might say is who cares where the development is? Things like infrastructure and sewers are needed right across the city, so why wouldn't it be appropriate for developers of any kind, of any sort, in any part of the city to be paying for a share of the needs of sewers and infrastructure costs in another part of Toronto?
But that's not what development charges are. You have other taxes. See, there has to be a principle of fairness. The benefits of infrastructure development are not necessarily tied to those 500 units which will pay the development charges. The benefits accrue to 10,000, 100,000 or 2 million people, and therefore the cost should be borne by those who benefit from it.
He pitches get rid of development charges altogether, have the city pay for those infrastructure costs and finance them.
We phrase this in the wrong way. We think that the development charges, if we remove them, scrap them, then the builders will benefit from it. No, the builders are already passing that cost on to the buyer. This is a cost to the new home buyer who actually is struggling with the purchase in the first place.
But who's to say that if the developer didn't have to pay these development charges, that they wouldn't just continue to charge what they would have charged for a house anyways, because people are willing to pay it at this point?
Builders simply cannot just slip in another $100,000 into the cost because those costs are known. The cost of building a new home, land prices, all of those are monitored and captured.
What's clear is that Ontario has been falling behind with home building. In 2022, Ford's government promised to build 1.5 million homes by 2031.
It's a goal. If it stays the way it is now, we'll never get there.
In the face of reduced or deferred development charges, the province just announced it's topping up its wastewater funds by $400 million. But cities will clearly need a lot more than that, and they'll need the feds to get involved as well to help places like Toronto out of the crisis that we're in now.